Town managers report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I will be brief. Most of my time has been taken up since I returned from vacation with getting ready for next year's budget, which is proving challenging for reasons that I'll talk about below. Also, the Warrant Advisory Committee is beginning to schedule its meetings. The first meeting will be this Thursday, April 16th at 6 o'clock, in which Karen, the Finance Director, will go over the state of the current budget, where we are with next year's budget. We'll go over all of projected revenues and expenses, et cetera. And then a week from Thursday will be the second meeting of the Warrant Advisory Committee, the 23rd. And at that point, they will review a draft of the warrant articles, and I'll explain all of the warrant articles to them. And then the warrant gets posted on May 1st. And then the following week, there will be a hearing. The date hasn't been set yet, but there'll be a public hearing on all the warrant articles. So I'm knee-deep in all of the budget stuff. And I'll skip ahead to the third item on my list here, which is health insurance costs. One of the challenges that we're going to face for this coming budget, I'm sure it's no surprise to members of the board, is our health insurance, projected health insurance costs for next year are very significantly higher than they are this year. And it's a challenge that communities across the state are facing. Some communities are looking at overrides just to fund their health insurance increases. We're doing the best we can to work with the group that we're in. We're keeping the unions informed. We met with them once already. We will meet with them once again in the next week or so to give them some input on, we have a couple of options for things that we could choose. Either one is going to be expensive. We're not going to sugarcoat that. It's just the way of the world in terms of health insurance costs, both in the private sector and in the public sector, but that's proving particularly challenging for us this year. So I just wanted to mention that. And then lastly, as Selectman Colburn knows, because he attends with me, the Whittier Tech meetings are continuing. We have another one this Wednesday. The Regional Agreement Amendment Committee, we're looking to try to narrow down the areas of agreement in a potential new amended Whittier regional agreement. And I would like to think that there are 6 or 7 items that are common to almost all regional agreements in the state, and we can vote and sign off on those pretty quickly. There are a couple of items that we may not be able to reach agreement quite so easily, but we will work our way through those. And we are also going to be setting up a meeting with all of our local legislators who represent the 11 communities at some point, hopefully between now and the end of May. I think it's the opinion of some people, it's certainly my opinion, that above and beyond what MSBA may be able to reimburse the district in terms of the formula for school building assistance, the state in some fashion is going to need to kick in some additional funding to make this work and to be able to get the votes to change the regional agreement so we can get buy-in from all 11 communities. We don't obviously know at this point what the cost of the new building will be. We haven't even done the feasibility study yet, but it's safe to say, in my opinion, that unless we drive that cost down with additional state aid, it's going to be difficult to get all 11 communities to vote to change the agreement. So we're keeping an eye on it. Mike and I go to all the meetings, and we'll keep you posted. That's it.
And it does have to be unanimous.
I'm sorry?
And it does have to be unanimous, correct? All 11 communities have to.
Everything has to be unanimous in the regional agreement. Any vote to amend the agreement has to be unanimous.
That's the hardest part.
That's the problem. Yep.
Well, people are asking why it's taking so long.
Well, this process is going to take a while because we haven't even got to the point yet where we have to do the new feasibility study, which is required, by the MSBA, and that's probably going to take upwards of a year. And then you'll have options. I don't know how many options, and then the school building committee, of which Mike is a member, will then review all the options and work with the architects and the designer to pick the one that they think is the most appropriate. Obviously, cost will be a big factor, but also what's included in there for the kids. And the unknown is really to what extent Northern Essex Community College, which has generously volunteered to get involved in this process, may be able to assist us with things like using some of their space that would save us the cost of building a larger building. So those things are all going to be under discussion, but it's going to be a year or two before we, reach any final decision. I think they're talking about perhaps something in the spring of '27 for the various town meetings to consider. But that's still a long ways away.
It's a lot of work. Any questions, anything?
No, Madam Chair.
I have a quick question, and Mike, if you know too, is that gonna kind of overlap with the Triton build too, possibly? I mean, in that,
No, it's
No.
gonna
are we gonna be staggered a little bit?
Triton's gonna be first, and then what do you,
Just so people can
I think
understand that that's
most,
coming.
yes, I do
Yeah.
understand. Most people are hopeful that Woody is gonna get a new building, we're gonna move forward. But it's a 50-50 shot that we can't even move forward from where we are now.
Okay.
Would you agree, Neil? It's,
Yeah, I would agree. And, people need to keep in mind that although we need to do major upgrades at Triton, the percentage of our contribution to Triton at 38% is going to be much higher than whatever our final percentage is going to be at Whittier. So, Whittier, we're right now at 4%. If they change the formula, we might move a couple of percent, but Triton, we're still going to be in the high 30s.
Yeah.
And will Triton's build be further along in the planning and implementing stage?
we're already way further along now.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
Okay.
Sure.
The health insurance costs,
Mhm.
when you use the adjectives large increase, are you talking 5, 10, 20%?
I
Don't know?
think I'm safe in saying it's going to be double digits. I can't really tell you what it might be because we need to talk to the unions about that. I don't want to share the scenarios that we're looking at publicly, but it's in the double digits. We went for several years of increases of 5%, 6%. Last year was 14%, which was the highest we ever had. And, we thought things would start to get better, but this is a bigger issue than us. It's the whole statewide and really nationwide issue of the cost of health insurance. It's overwhelming everybody.
Oh, I know it.
Mhm.
I got one thing.
Okay.
On their health insurance, I know we always gotta pick at what we're spending money on. Do you think we're gonna need an override to cover it?
I don't think so at this point, to be honest with you, but the budget's not there yet. We also, it's Karen, keeps very close tabs on the revenue side of things. And I will tell you one thing, other than health insurance, which is a real wild card, we don't have a spending problem in Salisbury. We have a revenue problem, and which is not dissimilar from other communities. And, we're in this situation where we're trying to keep the taxes reasonable. We're trying not to overcharge people with fees. We are very careful about how we set our fees. We look at sort of the going rate in other communities, and we try not to be an outlier as far as that goes. But, there's only so much money you can get out of a stone, revenue-wise. And so the revenue issue is a challenge for us, which is why we're looking at embracing, some measure of new growth in the town and new building, because we need new sources of revenue. We need to manage it well, that new growth, but we are definitely need to expand the tax base. The only way we'll get new revenues without overburdening the existing taxpayers is by new growth and to getting some new revenue in here. And that will be a big, big plus for us. Unfortunately, we're poised to do that at the beach and in a few other places. There's some projects in the works. There's some other projects that are coming in shortly in other parts of town on entrance corridor ways that I think will be a help, that we're going to develop properties that either haven't been developed or have been underdeveloped in the past. And so things are starting to move in the right direction. We're not quite there yet, but that's the the solution. I know the board understands this. I'm really saying this for the
I'm
benefit.
just asking the
benefit
question
of
because
the
the people
public.
in our TV land knows.
Yeah, it's for the benefit of the public, you know, the real budget buster is the health insurance. Everything else, the costs aren't really that dramatic. It's just having enough revenue to pay for it.
And is there any feelings or sentiments or anything that next year is gonna be a big increase with insurance too?
No.
Your guess is as good as mine. I have no, I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah, I think it's gonna, because there's some rate ship going on and people are using
Yes.
certain medications that are really costly.
Well, I know that the whole issue of the so-called GLP drugs, the weight loss drugs, is something that a lot of insurance companies are moving away from covering.
Yeah, because they're very
Because
costly.
they're popular, but they're extremely expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and the town pays 75% of all the employees' health insurance, which is pretty similar to what most other towns pay. And that's a heavy price.
Definitely.